Hey, what's up, guys? This is your boy Montre. I wanted to make some comments on the missing DC girls, some of the news that's been kind of buzzing around the internet lately. Kind of give you a heads up of some stuff that I'm aware of, that I'm conscious of, and I want to bring into your consciousness. Now, a lot of people were talking about the missing DC girls. I think it was about 14 girls. I'm looking right here on my computer. About 14 girls had gone missing within 24 hours. Now, I'm going to tell you what the main media or the mainstream media news is telling you, and then I'm going to tell you some stuff that you probably already know about that's kind of gone, you may have forgotten about. And some of you guys may not know anything about it. Okay, so I'm looking at here, and what's created a lot of buzz on the internet is that these missing girls in DC. And I think they're all between the ages, maybe from 13 up to 16. They had gone missing from February, I guess the beginning of February, end of February. It increased March 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, and onward into now, present, late March. There were still some girls that had gone missing. And a lot of people, if you haven't heard the story, a lot of people were getting upset that, you know, the mainstream media was not talking about this, and all these girls had gone missing in DC. Nobody was really putting it on the news. After all the buzz happened, and you know what happens when people get on Twitter, they start writing letters, they do hashtags, missing girls DC or something like that. Oh, missing DC girls, hashtag missing DC girls, hashtag find our girls. If you go on Twitter, you can see all the posts about it. Now, the conspiracies. What the mainstream media news started is telling people now, and they did a news story recently, and I just found it, what you don't know about the missing girls. They found maybe a couple of girls, and one of the girls appears to be a runaway. And while true, yes, there are runaways, I seriously doubt that all these girls are runaways from DC. But this is the news story that they put out there on NBC News, is that, oh look, we found one, oh she was a runaway, she's trying to run away from all her problems. She's 17 years old. Now, mind you, this girl is 17. She's a little bit older. The rest of these girls are like 13, 14, so they're young. So the idea that they're just gonna run away and start life over is pretty rare. A 17-year-old, maybe. 17, 18-year-old girls can pretty much start over their life. They run away from home, they decide they're grown. 13-year-olds may think that way, but they typically don't have anywhere to go. And I doubt if that many girls at 13 are just running away from home. Now, what you don't know, or what you may have heard, I want to go really deep for a second and talk about human blood sacrifices. And I've told a lot of my friends before, or people who follow me, you really have to watch out for missing people around a lot of holy days. And I'm not, especially the occultic holy days and the Jewish holy days. We just have Purim, Passover's coming up, and then we have some other occultic holy days that you may not be aware of during this time, because we're about to have the spring equinox. March 21st, 22nd, new moon to Ostara, the goddess. April 1st, April Fool's Day, is actually an occultic holiday. The new moons, the lunar holidays. The lunar holidays are pretty much the ones that you have to watch out for. The Beltane festival coming up April 30th through May 1st. April 19th through May 1st is a blood sacrifice to the beast. You can just look these up. But mainly, we're about to go into the spring equinox, and so you have a lot of underground groups who will kidnap people, or primarily young people, quote unquote virgins, but just young people, and do blood sacrifices. And these kids go missing and nobody ever hears from them again. And you know, the mainstream media wants to make you think that, you know, oh, they just ran away. But if you're having an increase in child abductions during pretty well-known occultic holidays, pretty well-known new moons, pretty well known spring equinox, Easter. Easter is really a pagan holiday.
There are certain, like for instance, Jerry Samando with Chicago Police Department. He's certainly doing something about this. The Sheriff's Office in Los Angeles and the LAPD have an officer who's in charge of satanic crimes. Unfortunately, many of these officers do not have a real good grasp on the situation. Many times they have a tendency to believe that it's more like street gangs where they write the satanic graffiti on the wall, but it's much deeper than that, as you know. There are police officers...
Just let me stop you here. Isn't the street gang essentially just the bottom rung, the delivery boys in this?
Well, there's various levels of this ritualistic activity, as I'm sure you're aware of.
Right, and we're talking oftentimes about important people, doctors, lawyers.
Absolutely. It goes much further beyond the street gangs than people realize. It goes up into the professional people.
But the street gangs are operating with the drugs and with the child kidnapping, I believe.
That's right.
And in Des Moines, I have found an area where the gangs meet underneath the bridge. And it said on there, and missing children are dead.
I hope I'm going to sicken you in a minute. You may want not to watch all of this. But this is a video that comes out of the video store in Washington, Iowa, and your 15-year-old or your 14-year-old could go and check it out, because it is not a rated video, it is a documentary of a life situation or a death situation. A woman. And this is a human sacrifice. And this is part of the video called Faces of Death. And I'm cutting her open. This was shown to a group of us in Nebraska, of the Nebraska Leadership Conference. I went out there to attend this to find out what was going on. And Ely Orr, a Kansas City homicide detective, showed this, and he said, this is available in any town in America. And my first thought on seeing this was it must be a porn store, it must be a town big enough to have a pornographic video store. And that's not true. Does anybody know Shreve, Ohio? Do you know how small Shreve, Ohio is? Do you know Millersburg? Do you know Goshen? All of these towns have it. Do you know Washington? They don't have a video store in Kelowna, so there's no place I could look. Iowa City, all over the place. It is everywhere in this country. And what's more, when I step up to a store and ask if they've got it, I stopped in Millersburg at a grocery store, and they said, we don't have it. We don't stock that kind of thing. And I said, how many people are asking for it? And who are seeing this? Young people. And what is happening after they see something like this?
There's every indication that the occult groups have established preschools across the country and even overseas. I know of a preschool in Australia, and I know of some in Europe.
They're doing blood sacrifices, and that's and this is to help increase their power. This is to help increase their occultic power over the rest of the year. Now, you can believe that, and you can disbelieve it if you want to. I mean, if you want to disbelieve it, then go ahead, live your little mundane life, and just don't worry about what I tell you. But there are different rules for people. There's that people who are deeply into the occultic, they go by a whole different rule of life, especially those who do blood sacrifices to gain power over other people. And especially in District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. has a whole set of different rules than the rest of the United States. And I really feel for anybody that lives in Washington, D.C. because it is so full of occultic architecture. The entire architecture of D.C. is occultic, of hidden symbols, a lot of hidden symbols in that area. And people who are not aware of it or not conscious of it, you're just living a life. You're just sheep for the slaughter, basically. So I really want to have people really wake up to this and be conscious of what's going on, especially during this time of March, going into Easter, because Easter is in April this year, and the new moons, the new moon festivals. Just be aware of it and protect yourself. Physically protect yourself, spiritually protect yourself. Whatever process you do spiritually, just protect yourself, okay? Call on your ancestors, call on God, whatever, call on your angel guides, whatever, to protect you on your journey, especially if you live in those areas, those very highly spiritual areas. I want to share a video with you, and it's an old video, but it was on Oprah back in 1989, and it's a proven fact. People are telling you, back in '89, a woman was talking about the blood sacrifices, that she grew up in the occultic world. She grew up in an occultic family, and she grew up seeing these blood sacrifices. And they told you back in 1989, and I guess people forgot about it because I guess there's other things going on in life.
Yes, I mean, it's like if you grow up with something, you think it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought
So what kinds of things? You don't have to give us the gory details, but what kinds of things went on in the family?
Well, there would be rituals in which babies would be sacrificed, and you would have to, you know...
Whose babies?
There were people who bred babies in their family. No one would know about it. A lot of people were overweight, so you couldn't tell if they were pregnant or not, or they would supposedly go away for a while and then come back. The other thing I want to point out, not all Jewish people sacrifice babies. I mean,
No.
it's not a very
we kind of know
thing.
that.
I just want to point that out.
This is the first time I heard of any Jewish people sacrificing babies. But anyway, so you witnessed the sacrifice.
Right. When I was very young, I was forced to participate in that, in which I had to sacrifice an infant.
And the purpose of sacrifice is to what? Is to bring you what? What are you sacrificing for?
For power.
Uh-huh. Power.
Warning comes before destruction, and if people are warning you and telling you who they are, believe them. Don't like, oh, this must be a hoax. Everything is not a hoax, okay? Everything is not a hoax. But there are folks out there who are doing these things. There's a system, there's a underground, I would say, kind of like a mafia of people who are in high positions, high power positions in this country. And that's why they get away with it. They're judges, they're police officers, they're politicians, and they're involved in this occultic world, the hidden world behind this world. And this is how they get into power. So wake yourself up to what's really going on. It's no mistake that you have all these rich people ruling the country right now, and they don't give two flying fucks about your health care or your life or what you eat or if you have a job. All they care about is padding their pockets. And in the same aspect, there are people out there who really don't care if your children go missing, and really don't care if you die. It is not until this stuff doesn't make the news until we start yelling about it and screaming about it, and then the news talks about it and then tries to play it down. Oh, they just ran away. All right, but anyways, I just want to give you my 2 cents on what I really believe is going on. Give me your 2 cents, give me your comments, because if you don't do it, then who will? Talk to you guys later. Bye.